Hi, it's Kayla, and in today's video I wanted to share some news with you guys. This is a long-awaited video, or at least long-awaited for me. I don't know if you guys have really been awaiting this. If you have, though, thank you so much. That is so kind. But I wanted to share the news with you guys that I am pregnant. Finally, I am a few days shy of 20 weeks right now, so almost halfway, almost half baked over here. So that's super exciting. We are having a girl, which we are very excited about, and we will be welcoming our little bundle of joy in June. So I just wanted to make a video to share the news with you guys, and also just kind of talk about a little bit about my pregnancy and kind of how my blindness has played into that, talk about some video ideas that I have in the future, and also some things I need some help with. So stay tuned towards the end of this video. I have some questions for you guys, for the community. I need some help. I need your advice. I need some ideas. So that's kind of the layout of today's video. So I am super excited to tell you guys. I feel like I've said that 5 times already, but I just really am really excited to tell you guys because I have really wanted to do like a blind mom series since I started my channel, like 6 years ago, I think is when I started my channel. And I haven't been trying to get pregnant for 6 years, but I knew that I would eventually be a mom when I started my channel. And so I had this idea of chronicling my, is that a word? Chronicling? I think so. Documenting my journey of motherhood from the very beginning, from pregnancy all the way through like newborn, infancy, toddler, the whole thing, because I think this is really important information, for the blind community, to have resources for, advice and tips and all the things for parenting. There's just not a lot of information out there, and it's a big thing to take on, and I'm sure a lot of things to consider and to adjust and do differently as a blind parent. And so I want to share what I learn as I go and as I learn, and share all of that information and my experiences with you guys to help other people, to relate to other parents, like I said, to help other parents or help prospective parents feel more prepared, or even if maybe someone is on the fence about if they want to take on blind parenting or not, maybe they can turn to my videos for a little just information of kind of what it's like and how you can do things. So I'm excited about that part, but also the other part is informing people, or what am I trying to say? Just being a resource for non-blind people, just society in general, about how blind parents do things, because that is something that I think a lot of people, non-blind people, are very skeptical of, and it makes sense that they would be curious about how blind people parent. I think sometimes they can maybe take it a little too far, where they think there's no way a blind person could be a parent, or I've heard stories about people being out with their children and strangers being like, I hope those aren't your kids, which is terrible. And so I think information for society about how blind people just raise children and do all those things is really good information to be out there on the internet. And that's always been my goal for my channel the whole time I've had my channel, is to kind of like walk the line of these two worlds of helping and relating to other blind and visually impaired people, while also educating the broader society at large. So yeah, that's my plan for my motherhood series. And so I want to talk about just all kinds of things about, if I encounter any discrimination, and just how I do things like feeding and diapering and just all the things. So I'm excited to share all of that with you guys. There's just really not a lot of that out there. There are some, but just not a lot, and there could always be more. And there are some like blind mom YouTubers, and I promise I'm not trying to gatekeep people that use the term blind. I think anyone, if you are legally blind, you have the right to use the term blind, but sometimes you find a video and it's like blind mom hacks, and they're talking about using large print or contrast, or dressing your child in a really bright colored shirt so you can spot them easier in public. And all of those tips are super helpful for people who are visually impaired. So, like, that's important. I'm not saying that is like that's not important to have out there, because it is, but it doesn't apply to people like me without any functional vision. High contrast, large print, magnification, none of that does anything for me. And so I am coming at this from the perspective of someone who does not have any functional vision. It can go one way, like tips for people that have no vision are also applicable to people who are visually impaired, but people who are visually impaired, a lot of times their tips are not applicable if you have no vision. Let me know if you have any ideas for what I should title it. I've been thinking, I'm not sure, I'm thinking about something like first time blind mom, and just doing like part 1, part 2, blah, blah, or like Blind Mom Chronicles or something. I don't know. Let me know if you have any ideas, even if I've already titled it in this video. If you have something better, I am welcoming suggestions. Okay, so to talk a little bit about my pregnancy itself. So I did make a video a while back describing my journey with infertility as a blind woman. I will link that. That is the prequel to this, if you will. And so we did conceive via IVF. I had my egg retrieval in June, and then it was longer than I expected it to be before we had our first embryo transfer. We had our first embryo transfer on September 26th, and I found out that I was pregnant on October 7th of 2023. So our first try was successful, which I am so incredibly grateful for, because not everyone has that experience, and some people do multiple transfers, they have to do multiple retrievals, and sometimes like it still doesn't work, and it is just such an incredibly hard process. And I am so thankful that I only had to do it once, and now it's all behind me, and so I'm very happy about that. So yeah, my pregnancy so far has honestly been pretty hard. I have been quite sick. The term morning sickness is a lie. It is not just in the morning. It lasts all day. At least it does for me. So I've just had been super duper nauseous. Food aversions, like I don't feel like eating because I'm nauseous, but if you don't eat, then you feel more nauseous, but also you don't want to eat anything because everything sounds gross, and it is a terrible trap to be in. So yeah, I've been dealing with that a lot. I've had headaches. I've had a lot of pelvic pain. I unfortunately did not get that second trimester relief that everyone talks about, hoping that will kick in soon, because it has been a rough time. That's why I'm wearing my God is a Woman sweatshirt today in this video. That was intentional, because I am really in my female empowerment era right now, because growing a human inside your body is not easy, and it's not fun, and frankly it's slightly, more than slightly, terrifying. Anyways, so been having a rough time. I'm hanging in there, just trying to take it day by day. I'm very excited about being practically halfway, because in my mind I'm like, oh, halfway, I'm almost done. So I'm just gonna tell myself that it's almost over for the next 20 weeks. Now let's get into what this channel is about, which is, being a blind woman. So my blindness really has not impacted me being pregnant I don't do much. I just kind of lay on the couch. So it hasn't really had that much of an impact, but there are a couple of aspects where it has. So very briefly, finding out that I was pregnant, I mentioned this in my infertility video, that when I take a pregnancy test, my husband reads it to me because I can't see them. That is fine by me, and that's what happened this time around, that he read the test. He told me it was positive. That's fine with me. I like it better that way. I wanted us to find out together. We are a team. This is our baby, not my baby, and he's just along for the ride. So I enjoyed finding out together, and I wouldn't want to do that any other way. So it doesn't really matter to me that much that I couldn't read the test. The other thing is, so I am seeing a new OB because my old OB really loved that doctor, but he moved hospitals, and the hospital that he is now affiliated with is not a place where I want to give birth. So I had to find a new one. And so I did a lot of research. I found one. I like her pretty good so far. But in our first meeting, I obviously told her I was blind. I showed up to my appointment with my cane. And as we were talking, she asked me if there was any kind of like extra support that I need, anything that they could do to help. And I was like, oh, no, can't really think of anything in particular. And she said something along the lines of, okay, because I know it's really overwhelming to have a new baby. And sometimes if people with a disability may find it even more overwhelming or even more challenging. So just want to make sure that you are, have the supports that you need, that you're set up for success, something along those lines. That triggered anxiety in me because I am so fearful of someone doubting my parenting abilities in a way that they feel the need to involve like DCS or something. And I have heard horror stories of blind parents getting their babies taken away from them at the hospital after they give birth because a concerned, and I'm putting concerned in quotation marks, like a concerned nurse or doctor didn't think that they should be a parent and like got DCS involved. And that is so scary to me. So I'm very sensitive of like medical professionals questioning my ability. So that triggered anxiety in me. My husband didn't take it the same way. He thought like that it was just genuine concern, if she was just really saying like, I just want to make sure that you feel prepared. And I'm sure she's right. I know that it's overwhelming to have a new baby, and I'm sure that it's more overwhelming to have a new baby and trying to figure out that, plus having a disability and having to figure out adjustments and finding what way works for you and accommodations and like all that stuff. I'm sure it is more overwhelming. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not naive about that. But that doesn't mean that it's not doable. But my husband didn't interpret it as that's what she was saying, or that she was really questioning my ability. And after she said that, I said, we have a lot of family around, so we do have a lot of support. Plus, I'm really involved in like the blind and disability community. So, I have a lot of networks for support and resources. And she was just like, oh, okay, that's great. That's wonderful. And then that was the end of that. She didn't seem to continue to be concerned. And I've seen her like once or twice since then, and it hasn't really come up again. I don't get the vibe that she is doubting my abilities. And then the other way that blindness has impacted me during this pregnancy, in actually a pretty large way, is that I cannot see my baby. I can't see her on the ultrasound, which is really just a bummer. Everyone else gets to see her. My husband gets to see her. We've sent pictures to our families. Everyone has seen her except for me, and that is just really disappointing. And I feel like it has kind of hindered me in feeling connected to this baby in a way. And so I'm not going to go into like super detail about this because this is a YouTube video and not a therapy session, but I do have some, and I don't use this word lightly. I, I'm a therapist, and I know how the term trauma is really like a buzzword these days. But I do have some trauma from our infertility journey of just month after month after month, year after year, getting my hopes up and then getting disappointed over and over again, and then having just so much fear that this would never happen for us. It has been really hard to convince myself that this is real, that this is actually happening. It just, and that was the first thing when I first found out that I was pregnant. The like first thing I said was, this doesn't feel real. Like, this can't be real. And I kept on saying that like the whole day. I'm like, this, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real. And I thought that would eventually go away. And it hasn't. I'm halfway done, and it still just doesn't really feel real. And there's nothing tangible. I can't see her. I can't feel her yet. And maybe this will change when I can start to feel her, and I'm hoping for that. But right now, I can't feel her. I can't see her. There is nothing tangible to kind of connect with. It just feels very abstract. And so it does kind of feel a little bit hard to feel connected. And that's not to say that that's every blind person's experience, especially, if you don't have the trauma of infertility. I think that really plays probably a bigger role in this than me not being able to see her. But I think that does play a role. The only evidence that I have that I'm pregnant, other than, a positive pregnancy test, is that I feel like crap. But, it doesn't really feel like pregnant, just feels like I have some horrible illness. So, yeah, it has been a bummer to not be able to see her. And it's kind of awkward when I'm having the ultrasounds done and I'm just laying there with, the wand rolling around on my stomach, and the ultrasound tech is saying like, oh, this is this, this is this. She's in this position. Like they describe it to me. Our most recent one, she apparently was curled up in a ball with her foot like over her head. And then at one point she was grabbing her toes, and another point she was like drinking the amniotic fluid. And so they're describing to me what happens, but I mean, yeah, which is nice, but it's just not the same as being able to see it. And so I'm just kind of like laying there while my husband's like awing at the screen, and I'm just, it feels like I'm not even really a part of it. So it's weird. Like I said, that once I start feeling her move, like that's just for me, and then nobody else gets that. So like they all get the pictures, but I can feel her. But yeah, I'm excited for her to actually be here, and I know that I still won't be able to see her, but at least I'll be able to hear her and touch her and hold her and all those other senses. All right, moving on to where you guys come in, where I need help. Making a baby registry is incredibly overwhelming. I am so overwhelmed. I've never had a baby before, and so I don't know what I need for a baby. I don't know what it's going to be like using certain products. I'm not around very many babies at all, so like I don't know anything over here. And I think so making a baby registry, I imagine, is overwhelming already. It just has like a baseline level of being overwhelming because you need so much stuff. And like I said, as a first-time parent, you don't know what you need and what you don't need. And I don't want a ton of stuff. I don't like clutter. The more stuff I have, the more stuff I have to keep up with and know what's what and all that stuff. And so I just don't want a bunch of stuff, but you need a bunch of stuff. And so I'm trying to figure it out. So there's a base level of it being overwhelming. And then you go up a level because I also have to think about what's going to be accessible, both in an obvious way of like, I know I can't use a regular thermometer and I need a talking one, but also trying to think about what's going to be accessible in maybe a non-obvious way. And those are the things I don't know. I don't know, like, hey, actually, this thing is hard to use as a blind person for whatever reason. I don't even know what it is, but I'm sure there are things. And so in trying to think about like, what do we want to do about a stroller car seat combination? Because my husband is sighted, he has a car. I don't know realistically how often I would be going out with the baby on my own. Probably not often, but I'm trying to think about like, do we need a separate car seat? What's that situation going to be like? I don't know. So there's just a lot of things to think about. So that's the second level of it being overwhelming. And then there's a third level of it being overwhelming because we don't have a baby store around us. Babies R Us does not exist anymore. I think there's a thing called like Bye Bye Baby. We don't have one here. So we're making our registry online, and so we're trying to, or like if I try to read about a product, there are not good product just descriptions a lot on things, and B, sometimes if there is, I just have trouble conceptualizing it. Like, just because someone describes something and describes it well doesn't necessarily mean that you're able to visualize that in your mind and kind of conceptualize what it looks like and how it works. And so I've been having that issue too of some things I don't understand. I was looking at the baby bathtubs and they're like, oh, this kind does this and this kind is shaped like this and this kind has this kind of insert, and I'm trying to picture these things in my mind and I just don't understand. And so that has been really overwhelming. So here's my question to you guys is, please give me all your tips and advice for making a baby registry. What do let me preface, I'm asking specifically about blindness. I've gotten overwhelmed. This is a theme. This is all overwhelming when I ask, like, what do I actually need? And people are like, diapers, wipes, pacifiers, clothes. I know that I need all those things. I'm not asking about basics. I'm asking specifically about blindness related of what do I need that is going to make things easier. So for example, like some people will say get a nail file instead of clippers because that's going to be more blind friendly, or little clips so you can attach the pacifier and clip it to their clothes so you don't have to worry about finding it if they drop it or throw it or whatever. So, you know, what are things that are going to be easier for me to use as a blind mom? What are some things that maybe are not accessible that I wouldn't think about? Just your all your blind related tips. If you could keep it to like 1 year, because I know you guys probably have tips about toddlerhood and preschool age and school age and all that stuff. I'm trying to take this one step at a time. I'm not trying to prepare for the entire lifespan right now, so let's keep it focused to infancy, please. So if you could help me out with that, that would be fantastic. My second question is, for a baby shower, opening gifts, and this is something I talked about in my what I got for Christmas video. Opening gifts is kind of awkward as a blind person because I just open it and say, what is this? Open, what is this? That doesn't sound fun for either me or my guests at a baby shower, to be opening presents for an hour and just like not really having a reaction, just opening it and saying, what is this? Because people like the excitement of you open it and say, oh, it's so cute, and it's all like warm and fuzzy. That's just not going to be my experience. One, I think that is going to upset some people that I don't react immediately when I open their gift. And if you're saying, but Kayla, your family knows that you're blind, I've like coined this term. I've said this a bunch of times, that everybody knows that I'm blind. but nobody understands that I'm blind. And so, yes, everyone at my baby shower should know that I'm blind. That doesn't mean that they really understand. And so I think there will be a lot of people that expect a reaction when I open a gift. And so I don't really want to do the whole open, what is this? So I don't know if there's a better way to do presents. I've thought about like, can I turn it into a game somehow to like make it more fun? Or could I just have each individual person who brought the gift like describe it as I'm opening it or something? But I feel like that would be hard if you have a big group to try to like get each person's attention while you're opening their gift. I don't know that that would really work. I've thought about doing, some people do like they just don't open presents at the baby shower. People bring presents unwrapped and they just like set it on the table. I've thought about doing something like that. So let me know if you have any ideas for how to make baby shower gift opening more accessible, but also maybe more interesting, because honestly, I think people opening gifts for an hour straight is incredibly boring. And that's probably me specific because I can't see what people are opening when it's someone else. And so it's just me staring out into space for an hour while people are like, "Aw," and I don't know what anything is. But I feel like other people probably think really lengthy present opening is boring also. So let me know if you have any ideas for that. And then my next request, I told you guys, I need your help, is that I do not want cards at my baby shower. I don't want greeting cards because I cannot read them. It is such a waste of money. I might as well just take a stack of $5 bills and throw them right in the trash, because that's what happens to the cards. They get thrown immediately into the trash. I don't keep them. I can't see them. Why would I keep them? I can't see them when I'm opening it. You could hand me a blank cardstock and just say, "Oh, it has pink flowers on it and it says this on it," and I wouldn't know the difference. Please do not waste money on me by buying me a card of any kind. Baby shower, Christmas, birthday. I don't want cards. Yes, I'm very passionate about this. I really hate the idea of people wasting money on me, and I think cards are like the biggest waste of money ever. So I know that some people, I've heard of people saying like, in lieu of cards, bring a book with your gift. I think that's a really good idea, except for I'm going to end up with a bunch of books that I can't read because I can't read. I have put Braille books on my registry, which I'm very excited about, but that's not really feasible to say bring a Braille book instead of a card, because those are not easy to get. You can't just go to the store and like pick one up. So I could ask for books and just get regular books that either Ethan can read to her or that like other people could read to her and just I can't read them. Or is there another idea? Is there something else that I could ask for in lieu of cards? Or is there a nice way to put on an invitation that says, "Don't buy me a card"? Because it sounds nice to say like, "Please bring a book in lieu of a card." It doesn't really sound nice to say, "Please don't get me a card." So if you have any ideas for that too, I would love to hear your suggestions. Okay, I think that's all the help that I need for now. I'm sure I won't be done, but like I said, I want to collect this information and then put it back in the world. Like I will make a video about what stuff on my registry and what baby stuff I'm using that is blind friendly. If you search that into YouTube right now, I put like blind mom baby registry, nothing comes up. Nothing, not a thing. So I want to provide that resource. So when you guys give me your suggestions, I will collect them all. And then of course, have my own experience and then put that content back into the world to help other people. So thank you in advance for all your advice. I'm excited to bring you guys along on this journey with me. But if you're not interested in baby content, parenting content, and you're like, "Oh, I better unsubscribe because this is what this channel is going to turn into," not necessarily. I wouldn't say that just from now on these are going to be the only types of videos that I make. I'm sure there will still be other things for me to talk about and other type of content for me to make, but I am just really excited to do this series. So I hope you guys like it, and I will look forward to seeing you again next time.